Hi everyone, this is Chad from Peptide Test. I wanted to give you some product information about vial adapters. These are called needle-free vial adapters, or often they're called vial spikes. So there are three different types here. I'll just kind of go in order here. This is called a 13 millimeter vial adapter. It's 13 millimeters across. This one is called a 20 millimeter vial adapter. And then finally, this one is a universal vented vial adapter. So I'll get into what each of these is, but first of all, let's go over what the 13 and 20 millimeters mean. It's simply the size of the vial top. So all except for one of these generally is going to be 20 millimeters. So the exception is a 3 milliliter vial has got a 13 millimeter vial top. So that's what this guy's going to be for. The remainder of these, we sell several different types of sterile vials. That's 3 milliliters. This is 5 milliliters, 10 milliliters, 50 milliliters, and 100 milliliters. And then bacteriostatic water, which has the same 20 millimeter cap, is 30 milliliters. So all of these that we sell, the sterile vials, are available in both clear and amber vials. The amber gives a little more protection against UV light if it's something that's going to be stored longer term. So anyway, I'm going to take these guys out of the way just to give us a little more room to show how these work and make sure we don't knock them off or anything. So it's really pretty simple in terms of installation, but before I get to that, let me show you the construction on these guys. So it's like polycarbonate plastic for the body, and then inside there's a valve that closes off the top. You can see this blue valve, so it sits basically flush with the top and goes down into the body there. Inside you'll see there's a spike that penetrates through the top of the rubber vial top. So then finally you've got these flexible fingers that sort of lock around the edge of the vial. Now I've just got these sitting on this platform, which is wiped down with isopropyl, but normally you would not just have these sitting out. These all come in blister packs, so that's all sterile and in these packs. So what you normally want to do is have your vials ready to go and then just peel them out of these packages and put them on. But for the sake of just brevity here, I wanted to have these ready to go. Now, before we install any vial spikes, you would always want to clean the top of your vial with isopropyl. So use a prep pad and just wipe that down. You would let that sit for at least 30 seconds or so to dissolve and kill any microbes that might be on these tops. That's just sort of basic good aseptic practice. After that, I'm going to go a little faster and not really wait the full 30 seconds for this demonstration, but the next thing you would do is just kind of center that and push it on and maybe give it a little twist just to seat it well. And then at that point, these fingers are going to capture the vial and everything seats nice and tight. Obviously no leakage there, so that one's set. And then the same exact thing would happen with the 20 millimeter adapter. You would put that down. Now this vented vial spike is going to be a little bit of an exception. It's the construction on this is different, obviously. It still has the same valve and Lure lock top, but the body of it's obviously different. If you look closely, you can see two holes there. Those are vents. So what this allows you to do is automatically equalize the pressure in the vial as you draw air out. And as the air goes into the vial through these vents, it passes through a 2-micron hydrophobic filter that's built into the inside of this. And you can actually, maybe, it might be hard to see in this video, but there are two holes in that spike. One is the vent, and then one is for the liquid. So this is going to seat a little different. Obviously, this is a much bigger spike than what's on those others. So you got to kind of self-center it, and it will go on either in kind of any vial size. And you have to push fairly hard and kind of twist. And then eventually you'll pierce that. You'll notice that on that first push, just the elasticity, the rubber kind of pushes it out a little. So you'll want to kind of twist that in a little more to get it seated. And even though it seems a little flexible there, that's perfectly normal. Like, you don't have to worry about that not sitting like totally clasped on like these guys. It's deep enough in there, you can see it's way down into the vial. And the rubber, the butyl rubber on the top of these vials seals it tight. So you're good. It's not going to leak or anything like that. It's set. Now, these are all made for multiple pulls, so you would put these on and they would be there for the life of the vial until you used everything. It's going to be a multi-draw kind of thing. And speaking of drawing, I'll kind of show you how that goes. Again, for good aseptic technique here, you would want to do the same thing that you did on the vial tops with these valves every time. You would want to wipe those down before use. So we'll give each of these a good swab. And then you would let that sit again for 30 seconds before you use them. Now, this would be just like using a needle, a hypodermic needle and a Lurlock syringe. You would want to draw the amount of air equal to the amount of liquid you were going to pull out of here. So let's say we're going to pull 1 ml out of this 3 ml vial. You would push this on, and hopefully you can see that how that compresses, and then you would just turn it, and then that's locked on. It's a Lurlock. This is a male Lurlock. That's a female Lurlock. You would in the airspace above the liquid, you would press that down. Now, one thing you'll notice is because this is such a small space and it's filled with liquid, that if I let this go, well, it's going to make a liar out of me, but often it will kind of push back up. You have to deal with a lot of pressurization issues with these sometimes. So I'll show you that when I show you the vented one in just a second. And so now you would just draw down like you would if there were a needle on here. So if we're just taking 1 ml out, well, I can kind of show you that here. There's some pressure, back pressure. When I let this go, you can see it push out, which is okay, and it's no problem. You just have to kind of physically hold that in place at where you wanted it, and then twist off here, and then that kind of locks it in. So we pulled out 1 ml from that, and then I'm going to squirt that out in the trash can there, and then I'm going to take another 1 ml, so I definitely want to add that air. Just lock it down again, push that air in, and then just pull that out. There you go, and that's what you do each time until your vial ran out. Since this is a 3 ml vial, and that's about what we've got in it, I'm going to go a little past that, maybe 1.5 ml, just to make sure we get everything. And again, we want to do that over the liquid so you don't make a bunch of bubbles. And then you just pull down here. We would go until this guy's empty, which you can see we're drawing air in now, so that's completely empty. And at that point, you would only use this on 1 vial, so now that would get thrown away with the vial. So that's how you draw that out of a 3 ml vial. Using a vial of bacteriostatic water is going to be exactly the same thing. Obviously, this is 30 mils instead of 3, so you'd get a lot more uses out of it, but exactly the same concept. So let's say we want to take 3 mils out on this 5 mil syringe. So you would just push that in. The pressure's less of an issue on these bigger vials. There's just more space for that pressure to kind of equalize. There you go. So there would be 1 3 mil draw, and you would just kind of continue to do the same thing. Let's take a full 5 out this time. Push that in, attach it, push the air in, and then draw that liquid out. You can see kind of how easy that is. And so each time you needed bacteriostatic water out of this, you would just continue to draw that down. So you kind of saw the pressurization issues we had, especially on the smaller vials. This universal vial spike is going to be a little bit different because that air, you don't have to push any air in first. You would just attach this, and then you would just draw out what you needed. There you go, and see there's no pullback. You can kind of see the bubbles going up into that right now. That's that air exchange. Again, they're going through those through that hydrophobic 2 mil filter, and then you would just pull that off just like you would with the other ones. And I kind of want to show you like how quickly and effortlessly you can do this. Like just with one finger, I can just pull that down quick, and that filled the whole 5 mil syringe completely up. It's really kind of effortless to pull that out with no air pressure equalization. So that's pretty much it for the demo here. I did want to show one other thing. Each time you can use one of these to wipe this down. Another option is we sell these disinfecting needle caps. You just peel that lid off, and you can see there is foam in there that's saturated with isopropyl alcohol, and it is Lure Lock, so it would just screw on there. And then actually, instead of using the prep pads, you could put this on first. As long as you leave it on there for a minute, it would kill any bacteria that were on there. And then also, you can leave this on just to sort of protect against dust between uses. You can leave it on for up to a week. These are disposable, and so each time you took it off, you would throw those away. So yeah, this would be suitable. All of these products that I showed you would be suitable for any kind of water-based product. You would not want to use it for any oil-based products. A lot of times oil-based products have got solvents in them that are not, they're not really compatible with plastics like this. So sitting in contact with that could soften the plastic or interact with it in some way that might not be good. So anyway, I'll link to all of these products in the comment section below, and if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email at info@peptidetest.com. Thanks a lot.